You were general watchers of cartoons in general before you even started watching My Little Pony.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, how
Not
many
this
of
man
you
here.
were particularly anime fans before you started watching My Little
Actually,
Pony?
yeah.
How many of you are fans of female cast-centered shows? How many of you were fans of female cast-centered shows like Azumanga Daioh and
Sailor
A
Moon,
Lucky
Sailor
Star,
Moon.
Who here liked the Powerpuff
Magical
Girls?
Girls? How many of you? Raise your hand. I want to see. All right. How many of you? How many here are? Also, how many here? People in here are no longer in college.
How many people in here are not even in college?
I have not started yet.
All right, so I think.
Go ahead.
I think the main point. Hold on. I had it. I had my main point.
I'm sorry.
They were late.
I'm
It's
sorry.
ours now.
I'm sorry. I still can't hear you.
Well, we started the panel without them. They were late. Come on.
No,
yeah.
we get that. We get it.
Yeah, but we wanted to have the panel anyway, so
Yeah.
if they're not here, we might as well start the panel, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
so anyway, I think personally that what we watched before My Little Pony came out had a big influence on how we feel about My Little Pony now.
I actually had that theory. I had that theory, but lots of people, some people don't agree with me, and that's okay. A good part of it, I do think, comes from, this is right now the entertainment industry is in a very nostalgic-driven kind of mindset. You know, the 80s rejuvenation, and to some point, you know, a lot of us want sort of that kid in us alive again,
Yeah.
but at the same time, animation in general has had kind of a resurgence because, I mean, I know nostalgia plays a big part, but let's face it, a whole lot of the cartoons in the 80s were terrible.
Yeah.
A lot, most of them were. And
Yeah.
you look at, we literally need like a list to like figure out, okay, let's proportionally how many were like really good in the 80s and how many are like really good now, but like in terms of like standout television animation now and compared to the 80s, nothing in the 80s has had the pure animation quality that things like My Little Pony or Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Yeah.
or the Batman series, or you know, a whole bunch of that other stuff. And I think especially the anime resurgence had a really big part of that.
Yeah, and actually, I remember doing a review of My Little Pony that wasn't very popular. It's on YouTube right now. Acer Reviews. Don't look at it. Anyway, I remember doing a review on it, and I compared it to the 50s Bugs Bunny cartoons, or like what I remember.
Old
of
Hanna-Barbera
those.
cartoons.
Yeah, old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and I think that had a major hand in how popular My Little Pony has become. And where was I going with this? I had my thought.
Well, we could look at the new animations, like My Little Pony, for example, and notice that they can be recycling the same animations over and over again. And that's a technique that was taken from the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. So, it was just on? Oh, it was on.
Okay, never mind.
But yeah, it's like technology is advancing, so the easier it is becoming to animate. If you notice, with all the programs out there available on the internet with Flash and such, you know, people are learning at a much younger age than back then with the newer techniques and such, while still learning.
All right.
We love you too, guys. We love you, AV crew. Thanks for letting us do this, guys.
You're all awesome. Yeah.
This thread is now about the fandom. Okay. Oh, go ahead, do pictures. Anyway, so yeah, I'm looking through the program here, and why not ask some of the questions? Why do we feel so attached to colored horses from faraway land of friendship? I mean, actually, that's kind of a good question. I mean, the world is so different from us, and yet we can relate to it so well. Why do you think that is?
Maybe it's because, just what I think is the world today, some things can get really, really just sort of dark and depressing and such, and, My Little Pony just really has that spark that, likes to really cheer us up and such.
Yeah.
This is how I feel towards it. Cute ponies doing cute things to distract me of my life of pain and misery.
That's good enough as reason as any.
I know, yeah.
All right, and just in general, how many? And I for some reason I'm into this like majority voting thing. And specifically, how many people got into My Little Pony because of fan work that you saw online first? Whether it was memes, whether it was fan art, whether it was PMVs, whether it was the anthologies. I know the anthologies got a whole lot of people. Okay, and how many of you became it because your friends told you about it? Okay, somebody.
Associates would
Somebody
be good.
told you. Somebody said, "Hey, you should watch this," and you go, and you thought, "Yeah, this person obviously knows exactly what they're talking about."
Or it could just be a troll.
And then how many people actually were just like switching channels and they found the hub and they're like, "Yeah, I'll watch this."
I fall into none of those categories.
Yeah, see, it's usually I get that, but it's usually not that. And the internet thing is a huge thing. That fan work has given Hasbro tons of money.
It's promoting
It's
them.
funny because it's
promoting
true.
people to watch their show and to buy their figurines.
Yeah,
Let's be
but
honest.
yeah, but it's not like we don't like the characters. I mean, look at me. I got Hasbro merchandise. I am ashamed to admit. But anyway,
Getting people involved.
yeah.
Question in the back.
Well, I was going to say that I didn't actually get involved in any fan art or anything at all. I heard that there was a community, but I just kind of heard that it was going to be a thing now. And I'm like, okay, I checked TV tropes. The article said, yeah, watch a couple episodes. I'm like, okay, I trust TV tropes, I guess.
Be careful with that site.
Yeah.
Getting people into it to begin with. Fan work had a big part of it.
Yeah.
Point your finger. Right in front of the...
Yeah.
Thank you
You,
so much,
yes,
guys.
you, the one pointing your finger, yes.
We've got a wireless mic.
We got someone.
Someone official.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
very
you,
much.
thank you.
Thank you, AG crew.
All right. So, what was your question, sir?
What?
I couldn't
That
quite
is true. But actually, it's funny that you should say that because I just released 2 days before the con, and I actually did this because I wanted to release it before BronyCon. I released a video called "Bronies Are the Worst Thing Ever." And
did
it was
that.
That was
You did that.
that was me, and it was deliberate. Thank you.
This is just turning out to be something big.
For those who have not seen it, it is a deliberate parody on the kind of reasons that people come up with for why we should not watch it. Which basically is 2.5 minutes of me saying things like, "Yes, indeed we are terrible because it is literally against the law to watch something not made for your particular age and gender. You will go to jail."
Yeah.
But what happened with that video is that because the title of the video was so, I'm not gonna lie, it was deliberately there to kind of attract people because bronies are the worst thing ever. Because of that, I was gonna get a certain amount of crap for it. But I was actually very reassured by the amount of people who went, "I was all set to curse you out, but then I actually watched the video and you turned out to be really funny." But I still had, you still had a very large number of people not being mean to me, but because obviously the nature of the video was going to attract a certain amount of anti-bronies as well, who are not very nice, but I expected that. But then there was easily just as much brony defense that was equally as kind of terrible. So there's still kind of this need that in our need to protect ourselves, a lot of us are still kind of being not very nice online.
Switch me places.
You
You have
have
a seat,
something
I'll
to
be the
say?
roamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because YouTube commenters are the most reliable source of information, as we all know.
And I know we all have like an
Question.
internet persona, I know.
Comment over
All right,
here.
yeah.
Back to the original point, because me and him are both in Canada, so we don't have the hub. So there is no
Oh, okay.
actual, like, switching channels. There's ponies. You really have to go and find it, which is, I brought him in, and I went in from 4chan, of course, but you have to go and find it. There's so many communities and stuff, UK and stuff like that, where they don't show the show, or maybe there's a season behind or stuff, and you think, wow, these people went out of their way to be part of the fandom. And that's awesome.
That is awesome.
That is awesome.
That is awesome. Thank you guys for coming from Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to our Canada bros.
Yeah.
You know, I actually heard that there were some people from France and England here too, and I was amazed at that. So.
That's right, and I'm sorry, musician's names blank me. The performer, the very famous performer yesterday who was from Australia. Yes.
Feather, yeah.
Oh,
she's
do we have a
absolutely
question over here?
wonderful.
I think the term love and tolerate comes into play with all this.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
It does. It does. But you mean just in terms of the attitude of the bronies in general? Well, yeah, of course. Well, yeah, of course it does.
Since you said there's a bunch of hate from both sides.
Right. Well, it existed. By far, the response to the video was way more positive than it was negative. But there is still, I mean, there's always going to be hatred online because of the nature of anonymity. Makes people feel like I can say whatever I want and I won't get in trouble. I'm just saying that, please just keep that in mind. Right. Go ahead.
All right.
I want to ask, how many people before you became bronies had a negative opinion of the fandom? Because I know before I became one, I thought bronies were like some kind of mutated hipsters or something like that. Or like, oh yeah, I watch My Little Pony. I'm so unique and different. But like, then I started watching it, and like a clip became an episode, which became a season, which became a full-fledged involvement in the fandom. You know, so I mean, how many people had like a negative thought or an opinion of it?
We got a few in here. No need to be anonymous. We're all friends here.
That is an awesome question, though. That's a legitimate awesome question. Okay, another one. Somebody else?
Anyone?
If there are no other
be
questions,
upset,
and I think we should. Oh,
Who became a show before? Who became a fan of the show before bronies existed?
Yeah, who was here from the very, very beginning, like early
Yeah,
season 1?
Like,
You were at the first BronyCon with 100 people.
Yeah,
There before it was cool.
we were totally bronies
cool.
Before it was
there
cool.
were bronies.
Because bronies are cool.
Aren't you special?
I love brownies.
Anyway. Oh. The summer after season 1, that's actually me. Sorry.
Probably me.
I think that's where like most of the people just started flooding in right after season 1, between the hiatus of 1 and 2. That's where people started flooding through.
Yeah, but I don't feel like it's hype. It's a good show. It's entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
It's like every week in Afghanistan, I was so happy. It took like 40 minutes to download the first 5 minutes of the thing on
Yeah.
YouTube, but totally worth it.
All right. Reading the program here. So let's. Do you have something to say? Or? No.
Please go ahead.
This is what it's about.
Okay.
We're just sitting here. We're not running it.
There's no plan. I didn't come up here with a plan. Come on. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Was anyone at the panel that was a couple hours ago uplifting the brony spirit or something along those
I was
lines?
there. Yeah.
And the big question that got asked there was what sets this fandom apart from other fandoms? And what it kept coming back to was that, like, it seems like there's a heart or a soul to this fandom that a lot of fandoms don't have. And I was just
Yeah.
wondering what everyone thought about that, what their
I can
thoughts
answer
are.
that. I can answer that. So, before the con was starting, I just ran into 2 random bronies, and they seemed really chill. So we just started talking, and then eventually we just go out for dinner together, and we just have a wonderful time. And the people next to us, they were just saying, "You guys act like you've known each other for all your lives," and I'm just like, we've known each other for 2 hours. So the connectivity of this fandom really does show greatly different from any other kind of community, I would say.
There really does seem to be a community here that you don't see in most countries nowadays, actually. I mean, just over at the food stand, me and my friend, we sit with other bronies and we talk, and you don't have to be exclusive to your own table. I mean, you can join any party you want. And, oh, you got something here?
I just want to say, like, on the kind of like what you were saying, because, you know, I say, like, I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I'm talking to somebody, it's like, oh, you're a Doctor Who fan?
Yeah.
Me too. And then you just talk for 5 minutes and you never see each other again.
Yeah.
But, like last year at BronyCon, I've met some people, and I'm still friends with them on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's just like, I've known them, I knew them for 5 minutes. And it's just like, you know, best friend.
Yeah, and that reinforces the point, really, because there's this social atmosphere that bronies seem to, what's the word? Exuberate or something like that?
Exhilarate.
Exhilarate, yes. And
That's a verb.
I think I'm using the term correctly. Don't correct me. Anyway, exhume. Thank you.
That
Exude.
Yeah.
It's one of those E words. I swear, it's one of those E words. I'll get it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, there's this atmosphere that bronies exude, and that is the right term, right? I don't care anymore. Anyway, and there's this atmosphere that bronies exude, and you don't find that atmosphere around, well, let's face it, normal people. Normal.
Who do they think they
Normal.
Yes, when the aspect of being
got a
nice
question.
to people.
Oh, we got a question over here.
Yeah.
More comment on that same topic. The other recent fandom that seems very similar in that respect is the brown coats.
Brown coats?
Oh, really?
I'm a brown coat.
I honestly am not that big, not that into the Firefly fandom, even though I like it.
Let's let the man finish his statement.
I have not personally been to a brown coat convention, but I have a lot of friends who are very big in that fandom, and from what I hear from them and from what I've read about that fandom, it has a very similar sense of sort of instant community. The fandom sort of spontaneously arose very, very quickly around a show that, let's face it, lasted 6 months.
Yeah, it was only, 13 episodes, and 2 of the episodes were never published.
Yeah.
All because it had the death slot in the
Fox lineup, yeah.
Yeah, Fox lineup.
And so I guess we may not have much of an overlap to that population, but it seems like they have done a lot of similar things in terms of creating a community based on that interest in a way that other shows don't.
So do we have any other comments or questions?
And that makes sense. You would
Express your
bond,
opinion,
especially when you're
guys.
working together.
This young
to get
lady
that show
here
back.
again has a question.
I'll give you the mic this time.
Comment.
I went to Otakon a couple years ago, and the community there was, well, it's a bunch of anime fans, but it was nothing compared to the Brony community. Like, everyone stuck to their individual anime that they preferred.
I was
or
at
something
that
along
same
those
con.
lines.
I saw the exact same thing you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, they're nice and everything, but they usually just stuck to their own anime group and everything. And in the BronyCon, it's just like everyone comes together. You can talk to everyone about anything, especially when it comes to the ponies, and you all have a common interest.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but it's also because it's a bunch of people only fanning about one show, and that is something special, especially about BronyCon. But then anime is you're not just separating between different kinds of anime. You're separating between webcomics and video games and anime and general cartoons.
And this is kind of
It's
getting
awesome,
into.
but still.
Yeah, this is kind of getting into a personal belief here, but I believe anyone and everyone who actually becomes a fan of the show is actually a good person at heart and a trustworthy person by nature. And that actually, call me an idealist, but I think bronies exhibit what is good about the human race and are one to unite. And
You're all beautiful people.
are one to unite, are one to be friends, everything. Yes.
Actually, expanding on what you were just saying, part of what me and my friends think is that a lot of people started watching the show or continue watching the show because with all of the gruesome stuff that's right at your fingertips every day, the show is just kind of a nice break from all of that.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And we got a few more hands raised, so.
Awesome. I agree with this guy. Like, if you look at anything else for somebody's age over 21 of what the norm is, what our behavior is supposed to be, what does it consist of? Going out, getting drunk, trying to get that one-night stand, waking up with a hangover, instead
Paying
of watching
taxes.
a show about paying taxes, not having a job, complaining. We're watching a show about cartoon ponies. We're doing charities. What is the charity auction right now? Is that happening?
Yes.
We're donating money. We're making people's lives better. Oh my God, what a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Just
We are
say,
truly
on your comment on normal people. Normal people scare me. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what makes the Brony fandom unique compared to other fandoms was best said by someone who wasn't even in the fandom last year at BronyCon. Who here went to last BronyCon? Remember the big truck out front?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. But thanks. Hiding in a warehouse somewhere on a street corner. My uncle owns that truck, and he wasn't a brony. He didn't even know what they were. I actually didn't tell them what the convention was until we were on the drive over here. And I was like, we're going to this convention, and I think it'll be cool, so you should come and drive me. But, you know, he's used to going to truck shows, car shows, all things like that, and he was so worried when he got here there because everyone's walking around with pony cosplays, and everyone looks all crazy, and he's like, oh no, this is going to be awful. At the end of the convention, he was like, you know, Corey, this is the best crowd that I've ever been in front of because everyone's respectful, everyone is kind. And I think it's the fact that everyone who likes the show likes those ideals that really brings everybody together and makes it different.
Yeah. That's very good. Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Young man.
All right, so I've noticed something.
Yes?
Well, here not on the internet, everyone is extremely friendly to each other. There's like only minor arguments at most between people in the fandom.
Yeah.
But on the internet, there's a lot more arguments. Just like arguments over like
You're saying that
groups of people.
Yeah.
He's saying the internet is
Not even
serious
that,
business.
just like
The internet is serious
You know,
business.
the
but-
internet
like
will always
serious
be the
things
internet
about
when
it.
you give a person anonymity. You know, if they have an audience, they will try to be that kind of a person to garner attention.
And actually, the internet, when you're posting online, 90% of your message is actually lost when you type down the words and someone reads them. There's no emotion in your text. And that means you can't really feel the soul of the brony over the internet, not very well. It's better if you video chat or chat on Skype or something, voice chat. Thank you. But really, to really know what a brony is, to really feel like the spirit of the brony, you have to know the brony in person, and that's why I think there's a lot of arguments, even within the brony community, over the internet.
That's
Yeah.
why you have to come to
Absolutely.
So that's actually the kind of sort of devious thing about writing all of your anger and hatred online is that once you type something online like that's filled with hate and hatred, because it's typed, it stays there. Though your bad emotional feelings of one day stay there forever until somebody deletes it.
Oh,
but it's
we got something
go
back
ahead.
there.
I just want to say I've been a brony for a little over a year now, since about May of last year, and I initially discovered it through some YouTube poop, and you know it involved Fluttershy making all these kind of random noises. I like different scenes and whatnot. I thought it was funny, and I was very interested in the source material. And to make a long story short, I watched the show on Netflix. One episode became 2, 3, 4, and I loved it. And a year later, I'm at my first, pony convention, and I just want to say a little overall about the whole fandom. This fandom is really unique and really special in the sense that, one, you have a very symbiotic relationship between the fans and the people who work on the show, the VAs, the writers.
Yeah.
I have never in my lifetime, I think the closest thing that I've ever been this heavily involved and invested in was Pokemon years ago, and even in that, there was never this kind of like genuine symbiotic, relationship between the people who made the show, and there wasn't this genuine, love and just, synergy between people who were fans of that. And this is something that I think is really special and really incredible. And I hope this thing goes on for years to come, because the world needs more fandoms like us, not just the anime conventions where people kind of stick to themselves or whatnot, but this whole group of people who genuinely come together for the love of this whole show. And it's just really unique, and it's just great to be part of this fandom, and biggest Brony convention in the world. I think we got like 9,000 or something here now, so this is something worth celebrating, the quality of the characters, the story, and just the whole fandom. So I can't think of a better thing to celebrate than something like this, so
Yeah.
kudos to all of us, you know?
Yeah. Thank you for your input.
Yay! There's a question up here. Can you project without the mic?
Hold on.
Oh, did we get somebody who hasn't said anything yet?
Actually, what's going on back there?
Are we okay? Okay.
Are we all right? We're okay? Fine.
I was just asking when they're pretty much going to kick us out. We got 15 minutes.
Oh, 15 minutes. Okay.
Hoorah.
All right.
I'm from 7chan, not 4chan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that is why we're awesome.
I think there's a little bit of yin and yang in there. The entire
Cartoons and comics.
and actually, there is a little bit of yin and yang and a little bit of yang and yin. Have you ever heard the philosophy of yin and yang? Good and evil. In cases like 4chan and 7chan and the bane of the internet, let's face it, there have been like really exemplary people who are part of those, well, nasty things. Yeah, the abyss. Thank you. Yeah. Oh.
All right. Whoa. Okay.
Whoa.
Hello.
Yeah. Anyhow, you guys were talking a little bit earlier about how in the fandom you believe that there's just all these people who are trustworthy, and you can just go up to them, and I've noticed that here being at the con, but I run a rather large, I help run a rather large Minecraft server. We just had our panel yesterday, but I also help do a World of Tanks clan, one of the oldest ones with a bunch of bronies in it. And I've noticed there's a few that you get every so often in these kinds of places that seem to be using the fandom as just sort of an outlet. Like they legitimately don't really seem to care much about the show or the fandom or anything itself. They kind of just use it as a place to dump their problems. So I was just wondering how everybody in here feels about those kinds of people, because we've had to deal with plenty of them.
Well, I was at a panel yesterday, Brony Psychology, and they actually delved into this subject. They found that most bronies, I can't remember exactly word for word, I'm not eidetic, yeah. There's like, bronies fall into two categories, extrovert, introvert, and apparent or secretive. And what you're talking about sounds like an introverted, secretive brony, which are basically hipsters who just want to be bronies because it's not the in thing.
Introvert is not the same as being a hipster.
Say again?
Introvert and extrovert are personality types. An introvert is just anybody in general who would rather be by themselves or with a close group of friends rather than go out and party.
Yeah, but they were talking behavior-wise is more introverted and secretive. That means they want to feel exclusive to something. Yeah. And we have a nice young man up here who's been raising his hand for a while. I think he should get his opinion in. Or what?
Or you?
Or, did you already hand the mic to him? Oh,
All right, let's hear it. You're next.
You're going to have to wait, sorry.
You're next too.
All right, well, expanding on what he said there, one thing I've really found about fandom is it's a platform from which so much more can be built socially.
Yes.
I am an admin of a drinking game site. It's centered around, it's like SyncTube, but we outlived SyncTube. And I just have found it amazing that we've all come together, and it's grown to the point where most of the is 100 or so people, and I'd say they're the best online friends I've ever had. And so, what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, in any community, really, you got your good guys and your bad guys. It sounds like there's mostly good guys on your site, and really, community building is hit or miss, and most of the time it's a miss. But it sounds like you have a really good community there, and it. Yeah. Yeah. This. Yeah. The foundation of My Little Pony is love, tolerance, and it actually gives guidance and lessons from the show. And a good brony will follow these guides, and as a result, a good community can be formed through it. I'm sure I can expand on that somehow, but I'm not actually typing it down, and so I can't read it from a prompter, much like certain presidents of the U.S.
Now go ahead. Go
Leave the politics out of it today.
Sorry.
Yeah. This is a quick question for everyone up here. What do you think about the Brony fandom in the future? Like, not in the near future, but maybe like 5-6 years down the road. I mean, we have Tumblrs, we have Twitters, we have everything that people are making OCs going crazy. How long do you think it's...
Well, I'm going to paraphrase what I heard from the psychologists of the panel I went to yesterday and say, I don't have a crystal ball. I mean, it's a crapshoot, but it really depends on what the fandom does. If the fandom continues to want to expand, then it will expand. And as long as we remain true to the spirit of the Brony, then I believe then it'll last for a very long time. And I hope that the show will play a big part in helping the Brony community expand. And I hope to God and Celestia that the show continues on for a long time.
Okay, let's for a minute hear from the other guys that are up here.
All right. I'm sorry. I've been trying to dominating this conversation.
That's all right. So like, for me, what I think that what's gonna happen in the future, as he was saying, I don't have a crystal ball. None of us have a crystal ball. But what I can predict of what will happen is that this fandom probably will keep on expanding, and that's what I really hope that will happen. Because I mean, take a look at what happened from the last few BronyCons. BronyCon 2011 had that, like, I think it was about 400 people or somewhat. I'm not quite sure. I don't know.
Ballpark number, yeah.
Was it more than that, or?
It was around 400.
But it just like then it stepped up. It stepped way up to when BronyCon 2012 came along, and now it keeps 4,000, and now it keeps growing. Now it's at 7,000. Possibly 8,000. I don't know, something
over
9,000.
I heard somewhere around
over 9,000.
Last time I heard.
Yeah.
I heard something around that.
What, 1,000? If you're at the 3-day outdoors on Friday, it's over 10.
Did
Really?
you have anything to add?
Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that.
Bronies in the future. I know bronies have been called the global force for good before. We do charities, we do a lot of things. I like our friend John Delancey's stance on it, that this community, given ample time and still has the drive to keep going, that could end up being something on the level of Star Trek or Doctor Who, something far up there in years to come. I mean, that's optimistic. I mean, it could go any which way. I don't have a crystal ball either. In fact, I don't think any of us do, for that matter. But
I could see the future.
But yeah. If it keeps going, and as long as we can all come together and sit in a room like this year after year, then I have no problem thinking that it will continue. I mean, you're all here, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I think
We survived last year. Now let's survive next year.
Right, I think by the nature that there was that this is especially because of the nature of the show that when you look at all the stuff that's made really big impact, stuff like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Naruto, stuff like that. What separates those shows from all the others is that their worlds are open-ended. In that it describes a world that you feel like you could create a character and jump into, and that has been such a huge part of the Brony culture that I was shocked to come here and find out how many people have such detailed OCs with backstories. How many people almost everybody here. I mean, I know not everybody. Most people, they are just show, but there's so many people who are into fan fiction and PMVs and these and creative works. I mean, that alone is probably going to keep this fandom going for a while. And those are the kind of fandoms that will kind of persist through time, but it's hard to say. I mean, for all we know, this could be a flash in the pan. This could be we all got into this because it was novel, because it was the first girl thing made in forever that wasn't awful. But then maybe it will. Maybe this will just propel us further, and we'll just continue this amazing aesthetic forever. And yeah, go ahead. The other guy on the other end.
So, what I see in the future for the Brony fandom is, the show will eventually have to stop with Friendship is Magic.
No,
However,
don't say that.
Now,
Don't-
we have so much talent in this fandom. We have incredible writers. We got writers who are becoming up there. We have animators. We have musicians. In the future, we will be having so much more music to listen to, new ideas to approach. And I really think that the Brony Dome will be focused much more around the fandom in the future, around certain animators and musicians, and they'll be the foundation. Well, the current foundation is Friendship is Magic, the TV show, but then a second platform will be made, which is the fandom continuing on what Friendship is Magic gave us all.
We have someone over here.
Right.
By the way,
Thank you.
I'm curious how people think that the future of the community is going to evolve with the introduction of Lauren Faust's new Fighting is Magic IP and the new characters, and maybe the community will be centered around that a little bit more in the future because they're not controlled by Hasbro.
I didn't really hear that.
I didn't quite hear that.
Oh, right. How is Fighting is Magic, the new IP, Lauren Faust, all the new characters, how is that going to affect the community? And maybe we'll shift towards them a little more.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
that would be interesting.
I think the idea is that we're not sick of our main six just yet.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting. I would actually like that, to see the world. I mean, again, the open-ended world just calls for so many possibilities, and and series that have been able to change and not stagnate are the ones that really shine over time. I mean, we're all, not to say that there isn't still good stuff in it, but we're pretty much all sick of The Simpsons now.
It is never going to die.
Yeah.
They're just ripping off Family Guy now.
But do you see such works in the Simpsons community? Because there's a community for Simpsons that is like revolving around that. Do you ever hear of fan fiction that is able to expand upon it, that's as popular as the stuff we do, or animations that are customized that won't be C&D'd because of Fox? I mean, it's getting old because it's just everyone over there is just beating a dead horse.
We got our last question here.
Yeah, last question.
It's the people who keep saying, as far as the future of MLB, there are still diehard Ava fans, Trigun fans, and those came out how many years ago?
Yeah.
So no, and I think, if the show eventually, it will continue on in other iterations of itself, but it probably won't be, Saturday mornings and whatnot. But the fandom is, I personally haven't found something like this that has ever affected me so deeply, just as a person.
Yeah.
It's genuinely made me a better person.
Yeah. Blue.
Like
it's made me a better person too. In fact, I find myself being more open and honest and being a generally good person. But
I think it's made. Hold on, sorry to interrupt. Can I please interrupt?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I think that it's made all of us, if not most of us, a better person. This definitely made me a better person as well. I remember, like, I can remember back to, I remember when I found out about My Little Pony during May of 2012. Before that, you know, I was a total, like, complete idiot douchebag at the time, and
Weren't we all? Didn't we all go through that phase?
Yeah. Sorry. But I was just generally a bad person back before then. But then once I found out about My Little Pony, I was always, you know, nice to everybody, friendly, and, you know, I'd always spread love and friendship and magic and all that. And, you know, I hope that everybody else is at least doing the same.
And back to his original point just for a second. The fandom, and for some people, will never die. I mean, some people live and breathe My Little Pony.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Also-
Anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah, they'll always have those people.
Cool, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to wrap this up because the staff's telling us. Let's have a round of applause for them for allowing us to hijack.
Thank you, AV team, for letting us do this.
Stand by for announcements.
Thank you guys so much for hijacking our panel. We're really glad.
All right.
You're welcome.
Seamus,
You're welcome.
welcome.
How about a hand for these guys?